Hello, dear Capricorn friends. Today we have such an interesting topic. This is your 2019 Astrology Horoscope. It's going to be extensive, it's going to be in-depth, and we are going to talk about the most important impacts of the social planets, of the outer planets, the eclipses, the position of the lunar nodes. We are going to talk about Mercury retrograde and how it can affect your sign, and also the transits of Mars, the Sun, and Venus. So we have so many things to talk about. You may or may not know that I'm also one of you. My sun is in Capricorn, so I'm really excited. There's so many interesting and important stuff that we need to know for 2019. So this video will gonna take a while. It will be longer than usual, but at the same time, I think it would be a valuable information. And you can always come back and watch again for additional information and more details. And today's videos is basically about everyone who has a sun or ascendant in Capricorn. Don't forget also to watch the video for your sun or ascendant. Both of the videos are important. All of them will be available on my channel or on my website, marstars.net, after they are recorded. So thank you very much again for joining me. I'm really excited. Also, let me remind you about the 2019 astrology calendar, which includes the heliacal phases of planets and interpretation of different aspects, the exact dates for the major aspects, lunations and ingressions, and much more information. So if you're interested, please find the link below this video. Now let's start with the first important thing that we need to remember for 2019. Numerologically, the year equals 3. 3 is the number which in astrology we associate with Jupiter. So as you can see, we have a great starting point. Jupiter, the great benefactor, the most positive planet, the planet of abundance and opportunities in general, rules the whole year. So of course, this is great. On top of that, Jupiter is extremely strong in Sagittarius, the sign of its rulership. So basically, it makes this combination here extremely positive and powerful. Also, Saturn, the other social planet, and Saturn, which is also the ruler of our sign, is in Capricorn during the whole year. So basically, the two social planets are in the signs of their rulership, which is a very rare combination. For the last time, it has happened during 1959. So we have a great starting point for next year, for 2019. And I think that we can achieve great results because Jupiter can help us to be more open-minded, to be more positive, optimistic, open for wisdom. And at the same time, Saturn can allow us to materialize those things, to be more in touch with reality, to be grounded, and to be capable of creating something. So great combination for everyone. Of course, for Capricorn, the interpretation is specific. So that's what we are going to talk about today. For everyone, this is great. Jupiter ruling numerologically the year, Jupiter and Saturn both equally strong. But now we have to find out how is that affecting Capricorn. And first of all, Jupiter will be in your 12th house during the whole year, basically until December. During December, Jupiter will enter Capricorn. But until that, Jupiter is in 12th house. 12th house is the last house of the horoscope. Basically, this is the last phase, the ending phase, when we are completing certain period, basically a 12-year period. So for many of us, this year might be the time when we need to finish certain things. Things that we might have started during the past 11 years or maybe longer. Things that it's time to be finished or to be terminated in some way. So we are completing things, we are finishing things. Also, 12th house has a very spiritual meaning, very spiritual interpretation. So for spiritual work, for increasing your intuition, this aspect might be great. In the karmic astrology, when Jupiter is in 12th house, it's considered that you have an angel who is supporting you. That's true both for your birth chart, if you have Jupiter in your natal chart in 12th house, or right now in the transits when we have Jupiter transiting 12th house. They say that you have an angel, that a higher power or some kind of consciousness is supporting you. So, of course, that's something great. At the same time, Jupiter in 12th house may also bring us certain isolation. Generally, 12th house is about isolation, about being on your own, doing things, which are important for you. Here we have all kinds of closed institutions, including the more challenging, like the hospitals and even the prisons. Or, for example, some kind of places where you are going on your own for your spiritual growth. Of course, nowadays, not everyone goes somewhere, to grow spiritually, but it may happen while you're doing all of the other stuff. And usually how it manifests is by spending more time on your own. Personally, I have noticed with me, because Jupiter is already in Sagittarius at the end of 2018. So personally, I have noticed that recently I really enjoy to be more on my own, to read something, to learn, to, to plan things. And it doesn't have to be something negative. It doesn't have to be, because you are sick or because you are depressed. It might be a phase when you are more focused on an inner level, because first house or the ascendant is the first impulse where we are starting something new. This is the house of taking action. But the motivation, what inspires us, is in our 12th house. So basically now we are preparing. This is not the time when you can achieve, easy success, especially on an outer level. But this is the time when you can get wisdom and you can prepare yourself for the future, for the next 1 year. So pay more attention to your inner needs, to your spiritual needs, to something which will help you to complete this period of your life, to finish with the important stuff. So generally we are focused on completing things, finishing our tasks, or changing the things that we should change. This is also a great time for reassessment of your life, of the things that you have achieved, the things that you would like to change. So basically, it's more working on an emotional level. 12th house is one of the water houses, which is directly related to our emotions and feelings, and also our past, our karma, our experiences, our subconscious mind. So especially for people who are interested in this area, to explore themselves, to get to know themselves better, to understand their inner motivation, to grow spiritually, this is a very positive position. Okay, and one more thing, of course, from a more practical perspective, 12th house is related to immigration or going to places, because usually when we immigrate, we spend some time alone. Usually, this is a completely new place and we have to get used to people and the culture and everything. And usually there is a period of isolation as well. So Jupiter in 12th house would be positive if you would like to move to another place, to relocate or to immigrate. Okay, next we have probably the most important position for Capricorn. This is Saturn, which is in the same sign. Saturn in our first house between the 12th and the 22nd degree during 2019. So, of course, this is incredibly important. Just like, Jupiter in Sagittarius is important for everyone with the Sun or Ascendant in Sagittarius, the same is true with Saturn, of course. For Capricorns, this is extremely important. And this is something rare. Saturn needs around 30 years, 29, 30 years to move through the whole zodiac. So the last time it has happened is 28 years ago. So as you can guess, this is very important, rare, significant event. And Usually when we talk about Saturn, we are afraid, or, people expect something bad, or, we say, well, this is the great malefactor, this planet is scary, we are afraid. But the truth is that it really depends on you, and the different signs react to Saturn in a different way. The sign position of Saturn is very important. For example, my personal opinion is that Saturn in Scorpio, let's say, is extremely difficult and challenging. Because, the nature of the planet and the sign is completely, unbalanced, unharmonized. But Saturn in Capricorn is basically in the most harmonious position. When the planet is essentially very strong, which means the sign position is the right one, the planet can give you the best that it's capable of. So in this case, we shouldn't expect so much, difficulties. For some people, it could bring, of course, some kind of challenges. But here, Saturn in Capricorn is capable to be more positive for us. Of course, for the Saturn things in terms of career, social achievements, being more stable, being more focused, being more logical, organized, patient. Of course, with Saturn, one of the key things is patience and also hard work. So if we use that, if we try to, harmonize ourselves, to respect Saturn, of course, it will reward us. And as I usually repeat, one of the greatest things about Saturn is that this is also the planet of justice, which means that if you deserve, Saturn will give you the things that you deserve, even if it takes some time, even if you have to wait a little bit, because usually you have with Saturn. But Saturn doesn't forget. Saturn is not Neptune, doesn't bring confusions or misunderstandings or illusions. Here with Saturn in our first house, we have to be very realistic about everything that we are doing, about ourselves especially, about the things that we are starting. And of course, the main question is the exact degree of your sun or ascendant sign. Here you can see the position of Saturn between the 12th and the 22nd degree during the year, which means that if your sun or ascendant is somewhere between those degrees, like mine, for example, Saturn will make exact conjunction with your sun or ascendant. And of course, it would be the most significant period when you can feel really strong the impact. And this is the time when you have to be more structured, more responsible, more organized, and material results and success can be achieved thanks to Saturn as well. To be honest with you, my opinion is that, of course, Jupiter is great. We are always happy to hear about Jupiter transiting somewhere, bringing us the opportunities. It's wonderful. But Saturn can give you more than Jupiter. Not always, because it depends on the things that you are doing. But Saturn can give you more. So if you are prepared, if you want to achieve something concrete, if you have a practical way of thinking, the right approach, if you are accurate also. One of the other things which are important for Capricorn is to do things in the correct way. To follow the rules. Laws and rules are one of the favorite things for Saturn. So follow the rules, and not only your own rules, but more, the rules which are accepted by others. Saturn is a social planet, so it requires from us to, align our desires or to change our approach according to, what's accepted. So we have to do things in the right way, to follow the rules, to be accurate, to keep our promises, to have also a great time management. Saturn rules time as well. Usually people with very strong Saturn, they're very accurate. For example, I always try to be on time, and 99% of the cases I manage to do that. And I have seen that people with a weak Saturn in their chart, they don't have a clear idea about time. They are constantly late. It might be 10-15 minutes, but they are late. Saturn doesn't like that. If Saturn is making a major aspect in your chart, especially if you're a Capricorn and it makes conjunction with your Sun or Ascendant. Or maybe it makes another major aspect with some of the other personal planets in your chart. One of the important things is to try to be always on time, to be very accurate. Use a watch, plan things, use some apps, but be on time with Saturn. Another thing that we also need to learn, Saturn requires from us to be really focused, to avoid wasting energy. So if you're trying to do too many things at the same time, usually it will be difficult. So try to be more focused, try to be more concentrated on something, well, which is the most important. Because Saturn in the first house, or even in conjunction with the Sun, sometimes can decrease the level of your energy, which means that you have to be wiser, to use your efforts, your energy, your attention wisely. Don't waste your time, literally. Just don't waste it on, meaningless things, or even if there are things that you want to achieve, if there are too many, it's also a problem. Try to be more focused and start with the most important stuff. Try to set some clear priorities for yourself. So wisdom is also very important. In ancient astrology, when they didn't know about the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto was not known there. So astrologers were working only with the planets from the Saturn during this time. Saturn has been basically the last planet, the planet which is really far away from us. During this time, Saturn has been considered to be the most spiritual planet. Nowadays, we have a different interpretation sometimes. Many people think that Saturn is the most materialistic planet, which is not true. I won't focus too much on that now, but just remember that sometimes Saturn can also bring you this type of wisdom, which is important for your spiritual growth. Of course, as we said a couple of times already, it depends on you and what you're doing and how you're using the energy. But with Saturn in Capricorn, you may achieve many things. And the opposite is true as well. If you're trying to avoid responsibilities, if you're trying to skip, some steps and move faster than you actually can, or if you're not keeping certain rules or laws or your promises, or if you're wasting your energy and time, in this case, Saturn will be more challenging for you. So very important transit, again, I repeat, between the 12th and the 22nd degree in Capricorn during 2019. So check your Sun or Ascendant. Basically, if you're born in the middle of the Capricorn season, so I'm on the 5th and my Sun is on the 15th degree, which means that if you are born between the 2nd of January and let's say the 11th, the 12th of January, if you're born during this time, then Saturn will make exact conjunction with your Sun sign. And this is extremely important. Something positive, by the way. As we said, Saturn can support us to be more disciplined and organized and structured. Also, Saturn, especially in your first house on your Ascendant, can help you if you need or if you want to lose weight. That's one of the positive sides of Saturn, that, because Saturn requires from us to avoid wasting energy, wasting space, to be more structured. In almost every case, if Saturn is on your Ascendant, if you don't have other influences which show the opposite, you can lose weight. You can become, slimmer, in better shape. You might be more disciplined to exercise or even to change your diet. So just one of the positive sides of Saturn. Now, another thing that we need to mention, together with Saturn, we also have the South Node in Capricorn as well during the whole year. The South Node has a similar influence like Saturn. So it can bring you some kind of challenges. It can bring you some tests. And also it requires from you to give up from something. The more conscious you are, the better it would be for you. which means that you shouldn't focus so much on yourself, so much on your own desires, or to try to do everything on your own. Because the North Node is in the opposite sign, Cancer. And the North Node has a similar influence like Jupiter, which means that it can bring you abundance, it can bring you opportunities and expansion and positive events. So in our case, the North Node is in 7th house during the whole year, which means that you might be more successful if you, well, try to collaborate with someone else. It might be in your business, it might be related to your personal life. This would be a great time for relationships of all kinds, personal, romantic, business relationships, and caring for other people, caring for what others are thinking. But here, what's the difference? So first and 7th house, basically this is the axis which is related to communicating with someone as equal. So here we are not defining the rules. Here we are not the bosses. We don't, control the other person. Here we have to communicate with the other as equal. So for those type of, personal relationships, this combination is great. So focus on the things that you can do for others. Maybe not generally for everyone, but specifically for people who are important and dear to your heart. Try to neglect your own needs, or at least, try to be less selfish, less focused on your own and your own desires, and more focused on other people and what they need and what would make them happy. In this way, you are also helping yourself, not only your partner. So this position is great for partnerships, relationships. For some people, this might be marriage. This might be something official, something important. Keep in mind that the lunar nodes need 18 years and a half to go through the whole zodiac. So basically, the last time when we have this position has been, 18 or 17 years ago. So as we can see, a rare event, specific, basically the nodes are in the same sign position for a year and a half. And during the whole 2019, the North Node is in 7th house. So focus on this area. Okay, so now we need to talk about the eclipses. Of course, they are also very important, especially for us, because the eclipses are in those signs, Capricorn and Cancer. The eclipses are considered to be karmic events because they happen when there is a lunation, new moon or full moon, and also the lunar nodes are included. The first one that we have is on the 5th of January. Solar eclipse, the 16th degree in Capricorn, together with the South Node. So, as I always repeat here, the question is even more important. Where is your sun or ascendant sign? For example, mine is on the 15th degree, so basically the eclipse is on my birthday, so we'll see what happens, but generally it means that this eclipse is important for me. If your sun or ascendant is plus minus 5 degrees, so from the 11th until the 21st degree in Capricorn, it means that the eclipse is in conjunction with your sun or ascendant. And this will be a very, very important eclipse. You need to let go of something because the South Node is here. So we are giving up from something. We have to be less selfish, less focused on our own desires and needs, and to focus more on, the other person or others in general. So very intense, very important eclipse. The second one is on the 21st of January, lunar eclipse. This time the situation is, more complicated because the nodes are again in Capricorn and Cancer, but the sun and the moon are in Leo and Aquarius. So here, basically the axis is 8th and 2nd house. So this combination is more about our relations with others, or the exchange of resources, of energy. Are we giving enough? Are we taking in the proper way? Are we capable of receiving? Some people have challenges with that. Of course, finances are very important. And here, basically, when you have an opposition or a lunar eclipse, this is the time when you have to balance things. So, important event, again, I repeat, the first degree. So pay attention, where is this degree falling in your chart? Then on the 2nd of July, we have another solar eclipse, 11 degrees in Cancer, in our 7th house. The difference is that this time we have the North Node in conjunction, so this eclipse is much more positive. It's a great time to focus on your relationships. And when something triggers the North Node, generally it means that the focus is more on the future. So you can have a clear idea what you want to achieve, or you can meet people who will be important for your future, especially in this case when the eclipse is in 7th house. Or this might be important also for people who work with clients. 7th house represents your clients, by the way. Or if you're a public figure, also important for your reputation, for the things that you are doing, or the rewards, or how others respond to you. So important position as we see. Next, we have a lunar eclipse on the 16th of July, 24 degrees Capricorn, Cancer, in 1st and 7th house. 1st and 7th house, as we said, opposition, which requires balance. Balance between our own needs and our partner's needs, what we want to do on our own and what we have to do together for, our marriage, or for the couple, or for someone else. So there might be certain level of tension, but at the same time, you may have a clearer idea. The opposition between the sun and the moon and the lunar eclipse basically can allow you to be wiser. And we have one more eclipse, the 26th of December, 5 degrees in Capricorn. Again, 1st house, and again, the South Node. So similar like the one on the 5th of January. So time to let go of things, time to be more focused on others, to give up from something. And personal changes, of course, when something triggers your sun or your ascendant, it's about personal change. It might be a small change, it might be an intense or long-lasting change. It depends on other things, it depends on the exact position in your chart, but intense personal change in general. All right, so next we have the other important topic, the topic about the outer planets. Here basically is the most important part, because if one of those planets is making a major aspect with your sun or ascendant sign, especially if the aspect is challenging, this will be the major influence for you. Of course, Saturn is still important, but if, for example, Pluto is in conjunction with your sun, it will be definitely more significant and more important. So that's why it's very important to know the exact degrees. And here we can see them. At the beginning of the year, Uranus is on the 28th degree in Aries in 4th house, which means that if you have your sun or ascendant sign in the last degrees in Capricorn, so basically if you are born after the 15th of January, and if your ascendant is in the last degrees in Capricorn, Uranus will square your sun or ascendant sign. This is a challenging aspect. I personally went through this aspect a couple of years ago, and from my personal experience, I can also confirm that it could be quite challenging. But at the same time, this is the transit which can allow you to move to the next level, to make a serious, drastic personal change in your life, especially if Uranus squares your sun. This is the time when, it's time for new things. There might be some tension, you might be more irritated, you might be more nervous, you may feel more unstable. Of course, it depends on your personality, on, how you react to changes. Generally, we can say that Capricorn is energy is, more focused on keeping things as they are. People with a strong Capricorn or Saturn energy, they prefer to, they prefer the familiar stuff, the things that are well known. And Uranus hates that. So try to make the change consciously. Don't reject, don't try to, to avoid the changes, because it will be much more stressful. So intense personal changes, time for new things, time for new beginnings. Basically, the most significant changes happen when we have challenging aspects, not any aspect, but specifically the challenging aspects from the outer planets. One of the greatest things we can do, by the way, if Uranus makes challenging aspects in your chart, is to learn astrology. Astrology is related to Uranus. So if you're using the energy for something constructive, something positive for learning, this will be much easier. And generally, Uranus likes almost every science, especially if this is more untraditional, more specific, especially if this is more spiritual. That would be a great way to handle with the transit. Okay, and if Uranus is in your fourth house, triggering the cusp of the house, of course, it brings changes related to your home. For some people, this could be a time for a drastic change, like relocation, when they need or they want to move to another place. So home, family are areas which can be changed. After March, Uranus enters Taurus. And until the end of the year, it would be on the 7th degree in Taurus. This is a much easier position because it means that it will make trine with Capricorn, which is a positive aspect. And it will affect you if you have your Sun or Ascendant in the first 8 or 9 degrees in Capricorn. In this case, Uranus makes exact aspect with your Sun or Ascendant. This is a great harmonious aspect, which also can bring intense changes, but they are easier. They are not so stressful. Usually, it's just easier. And Uranus in 5th house, of course, can bring you unexpected love, changes in your romantic life. In some cases, it could be related to children, but because we expect the unexpected, for example, for some people, there might be unplanned events, in some cases, even unplanned pregnancy. So if you don't want that, be more careful. For spirituality and for creative stuff, this is also a very positive position. 5th house is very important for our true self, for our ego. And if Uranus triggers this house, you can use your inner wisdom and you can apply it in certain direction. So a very interesting position. But as we said, really harmonious. The challenging part is in the beginning of the year if you have your Sun or Ascendant in the last degrees. Now, about Neptune, things are much easier. Neptune is in Pisces between the 14th and the 19th degree, and it will make sextile with Capricorn. So basically, this is a very positive, soft aspect, harmonious aspect. If you have your Sun or Ascendant here between those degrees, Neptune will make this exact aspect, which is great. First of all, for your intuition, for your creativity. It can make you more sensitive. At the same time, also more romantic. For love, this is basically Neptune very often can bring love because, it's so romantic, it's so sensitive, so tender, so very harmonious position. Neptune in 3rd house can make you more interested in learning different things, especially something about spirituality or psychology, or if some people are interested in medicine. Neptune in 3rd house basically increases your interest in learning those things and exploring them, especially, through feeling them, through connecting with the process. So with Neptune, we don't have problems during this year. Now about Pluto. Pluto will affect a small amount of people, basically only those with the Sun or Ascendant between the 20th and the 23rd degree in Capricorn, plus minus 2 degrees. So between the 18th and the 25th. If you have your Sun or even your Ascendant between those degrees, it means that Pluto will make conjunction. This is an aspect which can happen only once in your life, and not everyone will go through this transit. Pluto needs, it was something like 250 years or 248, if I'm correct. That's how many years Pluto needs to go through the whole zodiac. So most of us don't live that long. So many people won't go through this transit during their whole life. And if you are one of those who will have Pluto in conjunction with the Sun, it will happen only one time. And it's the most remarkable, important transit. It will last between 2 and 3 years because Pluto is very slow, and because of the retrograde motion, it's on and off for usually around 3 years. So very long time, and that's why, you know, you're going through such a deep and long-lasting transformation. The key word about Pluto is transformation, intense personal change. I also had this transit a couple of years ago. I also think it's not easy, but at the same time, it changes you so much that at the end of the transit, you are no longer the same person. At the beginning, it might be really stressful, it might be difficult, but usually at the end of the transit or after the transit passes, you realize that you are much stronger than you used to be. You're a brand new person. And that's why basically we call also Pluto the empowering planet. It can bring you incredible inner control and self-control and power. And for many people, this might be important, for example, for public activity, for politicians or people who work in social groups. This transit can bring you more power, can put you in a position where you literally can control others. So if you're one of those people, prepare for intense changes and personal transformations. And the truth is that, especially if Pluto is in conjunction with the Sun, it may not bring concrete events, not necessarily, because the Sun represents our true self and the changes might be internal. Of course, for others, there might be outer events. Pluto sometimes can face us with really challenging things, but not necessarily. So don't forget to check your Sun or Ascendant. That's the most important part, guys. So basically it gives you the general idea for the whole year. The most important things, as we said, Jupiter and Saturn, the social planets, are extremely strong. Jupiter in 12th house, which means great time to focus on your inner needs, for spirituality, for reassessment of your life, of, you know, the past 10, 11 years, and also for inner wisdom and preparation for the next year when things are, you know, starting all over. With Saturn in first house, we have to be very precise, very disciplined, organized, structured, responsible, accurate, honest, hardworking, patient, but at the same time, we can achieve great results if we truly deserve that. So hard work and patience and accuracy can bring you everything. With the North Node in 7th house, focus on negotiating, connecting with others as equal, without the control, without the dependency, as equal. Relationships might be extremely important and beneficial. And basically everything which includes working together with someone as equal. We know the dates for the eclipses, especially the ones in Capricorn, basically the 5th of January, the 26th of December, extremely important, extremely significant. About the outer planets, the most important is Pluto. If you have your Sun or Ascendant here between the 18th and the 25th degree, Uranus is important if you have your Sun or Ascendant in the last couple of degrees in Capricorn. Neptune is our friend, so we are not worried. So that's the general, the most important influence. Now we are going to talk about more details, which will show us things on a daily, not on a daily basis, but on a monthly basis. Okay, so if you have some questions, by the way, please, or some comments, or you want to share something personal, write them in the chat. After I finish with the presentation, I will try to answer your questions. So now we are going to move faster because we have many things to talk about. But as I said, you can always come back and check the dates and different periods. With Mars, we talk about the area where we are really focused, where we can do things, take action, initiate things. Mars is the planet of competition, of aggression sometimes. So with Mars, we can expect some kind of tension, but at the same time, we might be really focused. So for achieving things, for work, if you want to do something, Mars can support you. So that's why we are analyzing the different positions in the houses. They will give you more information. The first one, basically from the beginning of the year until the 13th of February, Mars in 4th house. Time to focus on personal things, your home, to correct something, to repair, to improve something, to fix something, or just time for relaxation. Not one of the most active periods socially. Then from the 14th of February until the 13th of March, very positive position. Mars in 5th house makes trine with the Sun or Ascendant in Capricorn. Aspect which can make you more motivated, focused, willing to do things, to initiate things, to take certain risks. Interesting also for romantic stuff, for dates, for falling in love, for also for creativity, for active sports. This is great as well. Then from the 31st of March until the 14th of May, Mars in 6th house, time for work. Time to focus on concrete stuff, your responsibilities, your obligations, to be to be willing to achieve something. Here, the challenges that you may confront with others at work, co-workers or sometimes clients or other people, but generally for work and business and new things, this is positive. Next, from the 15th of May until the 30th of June, Mars in 7th house. Very important for relationships, for creating new contacts, for doing something together with another person. Now here we have also the North Node, so that's why this is an important position, which can show you things in some way connected to your future, or as we said, people who will be important for your person, for your life in the future. Also doing things together, working with a partner or supporting someone. Basically, together with another person, you might be more active. You might be more productive as well. After that, from the 1st of July until the 17th of August, Mars is in 8th house. This position is positive for things that require taking risks. Sometimes it could be positive. In other cases, the risks might be too much, but it depends on you and your chart as well. Generally, this is harmonious for financial things, investments, finding investments, or you investing in something, and everything which is also related to exploring something, investigating, learning something where you have to dive really deep and search for something where you need to put efforts. Next, from the 18th of August until the 2nd of October, Mars in your 9th house, very positive transit, especially for focusing on your goals, on some future plans, doing something important for the future. At the same time, Mars is trining your Sun or Ascendant in Capricorn, now bringing you more energy, more motivation, more power and confidence. And generally, Mars puts the focus on achieving things specifically related to our future and our goals. For traveling, this is also important transit, and for learning, especially if you have to put efforts to learn something, this would be a positive time. Then one of the most important periods, when Mars is in your 10th house, from the 3rd of October until the 18th of November. Mars in 10th house is, first of all, great for career, for business, for initiating things, starting new things, or also for, you know, revealing your work, for showing your work to other people as well. The challenge here is possible confrontation with people who have more power. But generally speaking, usually we are very productive when Mars is in our 10th house. And the last transit of Mars between the 19th of November and basically until the end of the year, Mars in 11th house, which is positive mostly for social activities, group activities, working together with someone, or spending more time with friends, or focus on some social causes, or, you know, some kind of important ideas. Okay, so next we have the transits of Mercury retrograde. The great news, by the way, is that Mars and Venus are both direct during the whole year. But the difference is that Mercury is retrograde 3 times as usual. And these are the periods when, as usual, we need to avoid contracts, we need to be very careful with the information. We have to, well, try not to start brand new things, which are important for you. And the exact position of Mercury retrograde, of course, shows you in which life area you have to be even more careful. The first one is between the 5th of March and the 27th. Mercury retrograde in 3rd house between the 30th and the 17th degree, which means that even more attention to your communication and connection with others is required. Here we have to avoid traveling, we have to avoid signing contracts. With education or exams or documents, there might be certain issues. At the same time, there might be misunderstandings when we are communicating with others. So be very, very precise when you are expressing yourself, when you are, you know, connecting with someone else. At the same time, old ideas might come into your life, or you can remember them, or you may reassess certain ideas and plans. And also old friendships can be restarted. The next retrograde period between the 7th of July and the 30th in Leo and Cancer, between the 5th degree in Leo and 24th degree in Cancer. First in your 8th house during the first half of the period. Time to be really cautious with finances. Don't take money from others. Don't give money to others if possible. Don't make some important investments. And, you know, generally try to avoid things which are risky. The second half of the period, Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house. So more attention when you are communicating with other people. Not a positive time for new relationships, but old relationships might be restarted. You may meet partners from your past, or you may even restart certain relationships or contacts or partnerships. And the last retrograde phase is between the 31st of October and the 19th of November in Scorpio, between the 28th and the 12th degree. This time, Mercury is retrograde in 11th house. So again, our communication with others is affected, and basically we need to be more careful with our friends, with our community, people that we are connected to. So as you can see, Mercury is retrograde in concrete houses. There are certain cycles, and this is every year. This is not a coincidence. This time, Mercury will be in 3rd house, 7th house, and 11th house for Capricorn, which are the air houses, the houses related to our communication with other people, our friendships, basically the connections with others. So this is the area where we need to reassess something, where there might be changes. Things from the past might come back, or we can change our attitude generally towards our community, our friends, the people who are around us. Okay, so enough with the challenges. Now we have some really positive things to talk about. Okay, so we are continuing with the transits of the sun. All right, so the difference between the transits of the sun and Mars is that, well, the sun brings light, the sun brings positive stuff. Mars can also bring you positive stuff, but you have to work harder. And with Mars, there is always certain level of tension because the energy is, more intense. With the sun, things are smoother, they are more positive, they are more harmonious. And the transits of the sun and also the transits of Venus, which are on the next slide, are very positive for planning some important positive events like celebrations or your vacations or trips, or time to focus on more concrete stuff and work, or time to take a rest as well. And at the beginning of the year, as usual, the sun is in Capricorn. And if you have your sun sign like me, this is the time when basically you have your new solar revolution, solar return chart, which is very important because that's a brand new program for the next 1 year. And generally, with the sun in first house, this is time to start new things, to initiate, to be active, to be in front of others. The sun in first house is very positive if you want or if you need to attract more attention. So you are in the center, you are, in front of other people. They can recognize you, they can notice your work, they are capable of, evaluating the things that you are doing. So active period personally for all kinds of things which are important to you, and also for feeling more energized, more optimistic, more concentrated on something. Next we have, so basically this is the first important period. The next one, from the 20th of January until the 17th of February, the sun is in second house. So this is the time to focus on the concrete results. The sun in first house is more about the action and starting something and doing. When the sun is in second house, this is time for concrete results, for materializing your ideas, for having something measurable and visible. So a great time for focusing on finances, material stuff, and your resources. The next transit is from the 18th of February until the 19th of March. The transit sun is in your third house. Great time for traveling and trips, for education, for new ideas, for basically more variety. The sun in second house can bring you more stability, but things are a little bit slow there. Third house is a mutable house, which means that, things are changing up and down, and generally, it's more exciting, more interesting period. So for traveling and for learning new things, for more variety in your life, this would be a great time. Then from the 20th of March until the 19th of April, the sun is in fourth house, which is a great time for some family issues, spending time with relatives or staying at home. Also wonderful time for relaxation, for, taking a rest and spending more time on your own, doing your own things, not necessarily working so hard on some social projects. The next transit is from the 20th of April until the 20th of May. Very positive and important transit. The sun in fifth house may allow you to focus on the things that you love. This might be related to your hobby, this might be related to something creative that you enjoy, or spending more time with your children, or also, more interesting events in your romantic life. New dates, or reconnecting with someone, or just, having fun. So this is one of the most positive periods for the whole year. The next one is from the 21st of May until the 20th of June, and it's completely different. With the sun in fifth house, the focus is on the entertainment. Then with the sun in sixth house, the focus is on work, obligations, and more serious stuff. So great time for work, for starting new career projects, applying for promotions, or maybe even starting your own business. And as we know, especially with Saturn in our first house during the whole year, we have to be very precise. We need a very concrete schedule. So with the Sun in sixth house, you may focus more on that. And also the Sun in sixth house is great for paying attention to your health. Next, from the 21st of June until the 21st of July, the transit Sun in seventh house. And also it will be together with the North Node, which makes the transit more significant. The focus is on other people, on someone else, on your partner. If you are married, if you are living together with someone, then this might be an important period for you to take some decisions or just to spend more time with each other and to reconnect. So as we said, with the North Node in seventh house during the whole year, you have to work together with someone. It would be more positive for you. Next, from the 22nd of July until the 22nd of August, we have a more challenging transit, maybe one of the most challenging when we talk about the Sun, of course. The position of the Sun in eighth house. Time when you may feel more vulnerable in some way, when you might be more sensitive or emotional, or you might be concerned or thinking or focused on some serious topics and stuff. Sometimes it's not, anything bad or dangerous or, scary. It's more time when you can explore something for learning, for science activities. This is a great position. But in other cases, this period may require some changes and transformations, which may feel more uncomfortable. For financial issues, this is a positive position. The next one is from the 23rd of August until the 22nd of September. Positive and important position. Especially after the Sun has been in eighth house, when it enters ninth house, the shift is extremely significant. You are more positive, you are more optimistic, you are more focused on the future, on some goals. Also great time for traveling, great time for education, and generally for, opening up your mind for new ideas, for more inspiration, for more wisdom. When the Sun is in ninth house, you shouldn't focus so much on small things and details and things which are not significant. Focus on the important stuff and on the future. After that, from the 23rd of September until the 22nd of October, one of the most important transits and positions for the Sun in your 10th house. Time for career, time for work, and for materialization of your ideas. Wonderful for new business ideas or applying for promotions or, having more responsibilities or power or things which are affecting others as well, not only you. So focus on career and responsibilities during this time. After that, from the 23rd of October until the 21st of November, the Sun in 11th house is great for social activities. Spending time with your friends or with your social group, or focusing on, things that are important for others as well. But here, the position is a little bit more passive. 11th house is the house of the observer. The opposite house, fifth house, is where you're extremely passionate, you're extremely focused, you want something with your heart. In 11th, when something is in your 11th house, you're a little bit more distant. You are capable of, seeing things from a more rational perspective. So here, during this time, you may not be so passionate about something, but you might be capable of seeing things from the outside. And after that, from the 22nd of November until the 20th of December, the Sun is in 12th house, which is a time for taking a rest, for a relaxation, and for reassessment of the past. Time to, finish with the old stuff, time for preparation, because to tell you a secret, 2020 will be extremely important. During December, basically, almost together with the Sun, Jupiter enters Capricorn as well. And this will be a very powerful combination for Capricorn specifically. So that's why here with the Sun in Sagittarius and also Jupiter in Sagittarius as well, it's the ending phase of certain period. Great time for reassessment, great time to slow down and look at things and realize what you have achieved already, what would you like to improve or change in your life. So here the focus is more on, well, on the future, but only as a preparation without really starting the things. And after the 21st of December, basically until January, very important, very positive. The Sun is again in Capricorn, but also Jupiter is in Capricorn as well. So we're going to talk about it a lot next year, but prepare for a brand new period in your life when you may achieve more stuff, you may have concrete results. So as usual, time to start the new year. And we have only one slide left. Here are the transits of Venus, the most positive part. Venus is the planet which can bring you joy and happiness and positive emotions. It can show you in which areas of your life you can feel more comfortable. So this is also a great way for planning positive things like trips or celebrations, or in some cases, you know, important events like marriage or engagement or something like that. And after we cover those transits, we have the luckiest days of the year, which are also great. So the first transit is between basically the end of December and after that until the 6th of January. The transit Venus is in 11th house in Scorpio, which is great for social activities, spending more time with friends, with other people, focusing on some social activities. After the 7th of January until the 2nd of February, Venus is in your 12th house, together with Jupiter, by the way. So time to relax, time to feel more comfortable when you're alone, when you're on your own, doing your own stuff, preparation, or just time for a reassessment, especially in terms of your relationships and personal life. Then from the 3rd of February until the 28th, Venus is in first house in Capricorn, one of the really positive and important transits for the whole year. Time when you may feel more attractive, when you may feel like other people like you and love you more. Great period for relationships, for new dates, for attracting more attention. For women, it's a wonderful time to, you know, focus on their appearance and improve or change something. Generally, you feel more love around you. So one of the really great transits. Then from the 1st of March until the 25th, Venus is in your second house. Second house is one of those houses which are naturally associated to Venus. So here Venus is very powerful and positive, especially in terms of practical things, personal belongings, and of course finances. So you may earn some money, or you may receive some gifts, or you may enjoy buying something nice for yourself. The focus, as we said, is more on the financial side. After that, from the 26th of March until the 19th of April, Venus is in your third house, which is a very harmonizing transit for your communication with other people. Great for negotiations, for spending more time with your friends, and also wonderful for vacations and trips. Then from the 20th of April until the 14th of May, Venus is in your fourth house, which is great for spending more time with your family, feeling more loved when you're at home. Here, the emotional connection is very important. First of all, with yourself, because fourth house is also about our the deepest needs of our soul, but also close connection with your closest people. Then from the 15th of May until the 7th of June, Venus is in your fifth house, one of those great, positive, important positions. When Venus will make trine with Capricorn, and it can bring you more harmony in your life, opportunity to focus on pleasant stuff, hobbies, entertainment, great time for celebrations or some positive events. Wonderful period for love, by the way. Venus in fifth house is in a very harmonious position, especially in terms of love. So for dates, for falling in love, or reconnecting with others, or just expressing your feelings better, this position is very harmonious. And by the way, Venus here is in Taurus. Essentially, or the sign position is very strong for Venus as well. So this is a very powerful, very positive period. The next one is from the 8th of June until the 2nd of July, Venus in 6th house, where basically the focus is more on work, but this transit won't make you hardworking or extremely motivated. Venus doesn't work like that, but it may help you to feel more comfortable at work, maybe to have more time to relax or to slow down or to do more things that you love, even at work. So again, it might be positive. The next transit is quite important as well. From the 3rd of July until the 26th of July, Venus is in 7th house. First of all, this is the other house which is ruled by Venus, which is associated to Venus. So the planet is in the right place here. And also, as we already mentioned, the North Node is here as well. So relationships might be very important, very positive. Connection, expressing yourself, feeling more love, feeling more appreciated. Business negotiations might be positive as well. And the position or the combination with the North Node can make you more focused on the future, or may bring people who will be important for you in the future. Future partners, maybe your future husband or business partner, who knows. Next, from the 27th of July until the 20th of August, Venus is in 8th house. Emotionally, this is a more challenging position. You may feel extremely sensitive. Sometimes with Venus in 8th house, we may dramatize a little bit the situations. But at the same time, this is positive for finances, investments, or receiving financial support, or those kinds of things. And then we have another positive transit from the 21st of August until the 13th of September. Venus in your 9th house, trining your sun or ascendant. Wonderful time for travelings and trips, when you may enjoy just to connect with people from different cultures. Also very positive for feeling more positive, more optimistic about the future, and even focusing on some long-term goals and dreams as well. The next position is also very important, from the 14th of September until the 7th of October, Venus in 10th house. First of all, 10th house is one of the most important houses in the chart, which is about your achievements, your social position, your career, your reputation. And also, Venus is in Libra during this time. Libra is the other sign which is ruled by Venus. So the planet essentially is very powerful, which can bring you more Venus stuff, more harmony, more balance, more positive results. Financially, by the way, this is also a positive transit for earning money through your work, through your basically through your efforts. Then from the 8th of October until the 31st, we have Venus in 11th house. Very positive for social activities, spending time with friends, feeling appreciated. Basically, you may just enjoy more the company of others. After that, from the 1st of November until the 24th, Venus is in 12th house. More passive period, time to reconnect to yourself. In terms of relationships, this is usually not a dynamic and exciting period. It's more a period for some kind of isolation or spending time alone, reassessing things. Again, you may finish with some stuff. You may want to leave something in the past in terms of your emotions and personal relationships, and all kinds of emotional stuff as well. And then from the 25th of November until the 19th of December, Venus is in Capricorn again, which is very positive for communication with basically for everything that you are doing personally. Really exciting, really interesting when you may feel more loved, you may feel more appreciated, you may feel more inspired. This is one of the most positive positions, basically just like the one during February. And on top of that, we know that at the same time during December also the Sun and Jupiter will be joining Venus in Capricorn. So December looks like extremely important month for us. And the last couple of days after the 20th of December, Venus is in second house, which is great for financial stuff, for investments, or just enjoy spending money on something. Now we have basically the most positive combinations. Here you can see the luckiest days based on the positive conjunctions between Venus and the Sun, and also Venus and Jupiter. Venus and the Sun will be in conjunction only one time during 2019. On the 14th of August, the exact position is 22 degrees Leo in your 8th house. This is a very positive position for mostly for finances. And also, by the way, this is positive for pregnancy, for conceiving. If you're interested in that, this is also positive. Other than that, it's mostly about, receiving resources or some kind of support, maybe also even emotional support from other people. The other two incredibly positive combinations are between Venus and Jupiter. There will be two of those. First one on the 22nd of January, the exact position is 17 degrees Sagittarius in 12th house. And the next one, the 24th of November, 29 degrees Sagittarius, again, Venus together with Jupiter. We are paying attention to those combinations because these are the two benefactors in astrology, or the planets which are considered to be the most positive and beneficial. And when they are together, of course, the energy is much stronger and powerful. In our case, this combination is in 12th house. So we may expect more internal things, or things which are more kind of important for our soul. 12th house is not a materialistic house. So this conjunction may not bring us, financial success or something visible, measurable, and concrete, but it may help you to change how you feel internally. And in my opinion, this is even more important. So great time for spending more time on your own, finding out what you truly want and how you can nurture yourself and your soul better. And by the way, this combination is positive for traveling, especially abroad. So these are the most important stuff during 2019. In my opinion, very important year, very significant, especially because Saturn is there and the South Node is in Capricorn. So very interesting year. Don't forget also that the 2019 calendar is still available. You can find the link below the video. And this calendar will basically bring you information about heliacal phases of planets and interpretation of exact aspects with dates and how it can affect you and what to expect. So if you want to plan your 2019 or your events or projects, this calendar would be very helpful. Now let me see some of the questions. Okay, we have a very important and interesting question about the moon. So is this forecast applicable or also important if your moon sign is here? My opinion is that it's not, because the interpretation would be different. When we talk about the sun and the ascendant, we are focusing on you. So what you can do, what you should do about your personality. But when we talk about the moon represents different things. The moon is about your feelings and your emotions. some family issues or things related to your mother. So the interpretation is different. And for example, we said, let's say that when Mars is in Capricorn, well, Mars is not in Capricorn during this year, but let's say Mars is in, or Saturn, let's say Saturn is in your first house. It means that you have to be more disciplined and you have to be more structured, and you have to, you may start new things. But if Saturn is in conjunction with the moon, the interpretation is different. And basically, we can't say that this is the same. It's a more personal reading. So if you're interested, of course, you can always contact me for advice. But generally, my opinion is that the interpretation is different. So that's why I think that, you should listen mostly to your sun and ascendant sign. And yes, they are both important. Sometimes there might be contradiction. My case, for example, my sun is in Capricorn, but my ascendant is in Cancer. So basically two opposing signs. And from one side, let's say the North Node is in my first house according to my ascendant, which means one thing. And according to the sun position, the North Node is in 7th house, which means exactly the opposite. And that's something that I need to handle with. Generally, if you have certain positions which are confronting each other, generally it means that, there is a need to balance things, because you might be pulled in different directions. So here you have to know your chart and yourself better in order to, be capable of finding the right way. But generally, both of the things are important. It's just more complicated because from one side, in my case, I have to focus both on me and the things that I'm doing and be more independent. And at the same time, I have to focus on 7th house and my relationships and my partner and connecting with others. So personally, in my case, I have to balance those things. And in your case, for example, from one side, let's say the North Node might be in your 12th house and at the same time in your 10th house according to the sun. So you have to combine both of those things. You may, focus on things independently because of 12th house and do something and prepare to complete certain stuff. And at the same time, you may focus on work. And this self-isolation, which is related to 12th house, may help you to achieve more results in your career. Just an example. So you have to combine the interpretations, but they are both important. Okay. So thank you very much also. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget also to watch the other videos for your sun or ascendant. All of them will be available on my channel really soon. Many of them are already actually. Or also you can go to my channel, marsstars.net, for more information. So thank you so much again. I really hope that all of us will have a wonderful 2019. And I hope you'll stay connected. Thank you very much for joining me.